welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm John Hirschberger with Wavical Data Solutions, and we're partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT, CDOIQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Thrivent Kasala, Chief Data Officer at Thrivent. Could you tell us a little bit about your current role and how you got to this point in your career?
Oh, thanks, John. Again, first of all, thank you. Thanks for taking this time. And as I was mentioning, I've been a data guy for most of my 25 plus years of career. So mostly, again, progressively led database, data architecture, data engineering, data science. And you can see the theme, right? It's mostly data. So that's what has been my career until this point. So in my current role as a CDO, Chief Data Officer, and Head of Data and Analytics Delivery for Thrivent, I'm helping the organization really strengthen the data analytics capabilities so we can continue to serve our clients and help them achieve financial clarity, enabling lives full of meaning and gratitude. That's very important for Thrivent. Thrivent's mission is important, so what I see my role is directly helping, enabling that.
Thrivent, could you speak a little bit about Thrivent as an organization, the mission, the objectives, and at an enterprise level for the organization?
Great, John. We're happy to do that. Thrivent is a diversified financial service organization. Now, insurance has been a big part of Thrivent's legacy, but financial advice, investments, insurance, banking, and more importantly, generosity programs. That's what Thrivent's offerings are. And with a mission of making, really to have people make most of what they have been given. I think that's been the primary mission of Thrivent has been, is to really help people make most out of what they have been given. And another one, that why Thrivent exists, we believe that Thrivent exists for people to help people achieve financial clarity, enabling lives full of meaning and gratitude. That's how we drive most of our decisions we make, most of the how we engage and create the operating model, our engagement model with the customers will be tuned more towards that one. That's what is Thrivent all about. And I believe a lot of people, even in the insurance industry, may not have known Thrivent as well, but we are a Fortune 500 company, and to be precise, somewhere in the 325 is the number in terms of the revenue. And we're also going through what Thrivent is doing is at a position of strength, trying to transform. Because we want to actually go and now start helping the next generations. We have helped several generations for the last 100 years, 100 plus years. Now we want to go and help serve the future generations. Of course, we are trying to be digital first now. We are trying to drive with a best knowledge about our clients and prospective clients so that we can offer you what is relevant. And that's where we are headed within our transformation. Our goal is to really expand that, serve the future generations with what is relevant. And end of the day, the end goal is to really enabling them to have the financial clarity and lives full of meaning and gratitude.
Can you speak to the functions that you're specifically responsible for at Thrivent?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, the entire data and analytics delivery. So starting from the data strategy to establishing data as a platform. I'm not talking technology, data as a platform. When I say platform approach, people should be able to use it, contribute, and adopt any way that they would see like. So that's what is the goal, and the functions very specifically, all of the customer data management and the customer data insights. Data engineering, which is establishing the foundational functions and bringing all the data. Data governance. Responsive intelligence, what we call it, is really AI and machine learning, utilization of that to directly help some of the end customers as we do the interactions to help there. And another area of responsibility I have is the overall information delivery. So that's basically anything that really data touches in terms of a shared and enterprise and which has a wider impact, I have the oversight or leadership of all of that.
As someone who's had the opportunity to set up a new data organization, I certainly had my series of challenges. What I'm interested in next is, from your perspective, what are some of the key considerations that you would suggest people consider when establishing a new practice within an organization, specifically as a CDO?
Oh, great question, John. I think as you have probably seen in your career, data officers or this CDO role has completely changed, morphed. Even 5 years ago, data officers or head of data was primarily focused on governance. I think what I see is the key to a successful and a business value delivery oriented data organization is suggesting, I would really suggest that a business outcome driven data strategy is the first step. That's the pillar. If the data strategy is focused on just technology and say, oh, I need data lake, I need AI, I need ML, wonderful. All of these are technologies. But if it's not focused on business outcome, I think that's where we're not set up for success. That's what I would suggest that's the biggest consideration. Another one is data officers' job should be about enabling that frictionless flow of data everywhere and creating those actionable insights. End of the day, it's not just about how many reports or how much data we have. Are we delivering actionable insights at the right time to the right place, which is as we engage with customers, as we engage with your partners, as the business is conducting its operations? Data is not after the fact. I think that's what I would suggest is focus on creating the capabilities or the investments to go towards that one.
Yes, as in addition to the comments you made, and I completely agree, you have to start with that value equation. Well, what do you think about a focus on the measurement framework that goes with establishing what those value components are?
When you say measurement, John, I would like to understand measurement of
Like
success of the data program.
I'm sorry, how you measure the value of the program?
I think that's another one, right, which fundamentally changed. Data was more of a byproduct, and data was in support of. Even, as I said, even the last decade prior to that, it's been primarily, yep, data is there. Yes, it will help because we have a good decision support or good decisions that which are going to be supported by a little bit of data. But data was not a business capability. Data was not driving some of the experiences. Data was not driving the customer interactions. I would see the modern measurement. I mean, that's what I measure myself is, are we enabling marketing to go and do a much better segmentation? Are we allowing the experience divisions to really provide the top-notch customer experience and being able to be relevant, offer relevant advice and actionable information for the customers and for the business to be doing it? That's what I would say is, which places have that been enabled by data analytics is how I measure it, not about how much data we collected, not about I have 10,000 attributes in my metadata repository. I have definitions for this. I think these are all lagging measures. Really, end of the day, what we need to look at is what direct alignment to the customer and the sales and distribution and the risk management functions that we do. That's what I would suggest measuring.
Is in the course of every year, you probably get many opportunities to kick off new data and analytics projects. And I was wondering if you could speak to how you go about the process of determining, what to do, what programs to be able to support, and then more importantly, how to deploy those capabilities within your businesses.
That's a great question, John. I think my answer would be very different from different companies, right? So I'll just go back to a little bit on the previous jobs. So MassMutual, it was anchored to the customer experience transformation. So Normally, I look for a anchoring business initiatives that which is considered high value, which is going to be directly helping the business grow or make operations significantly better. Not just a simple operational efficiency of trying to count to say cost avoidance. That's not how I would look at it. It does fundamentally change how we do business with customers. That I've been fortunate in having that at MassMutual. At Fidelity, it was primarily also about a lot of the risk and how the finance would help ultimately the customer facing business units. At Thrivent, I've been fortunate again, is about the Thrivent is transforming. It's a Fortune 500 company, which is not as well known for everybody, but now I'm sure it is being well known given that we have significant marketing and brand awareness that we have been bringing over the last 6 months. But the transformation, I mean, data is part of the company's transformation strategy, not just in support of, but part of the strategy. So my initiatives are part of what we call one plan for Thrivent. So that's how I've aligned, and that's how I introduce technology. So when a technology is getting introduced, is this going to help us with a better marketing segmentation, better targeting of the customers, better experience delivery, or is it going to be helping our product management to now deliver that new business or post sale servicing better? So I would look at gaps and white spaces that which are aligning into that. Again, I mean, I'm not saying that not everybody will have that. If in a places where it is well established and a CDO is going to go maintain it, they might not always have this level of alignment needed, but I would always look at something anchoring, something that business considers to be a top priority.
One of the biggest challenges that I experienced over my career in leading data and analytics organizations was the challenge of getting folks to adopt new technologies and, more importantly, to migrate away from their old processes. And I think that still, is a fundamental challenge today. What's your thinking about how to best address the adoption and migration challenge?
John, I think given that you have so many decades of experience here in the data and BI, especially take the BI, right? I mean, data platforms are more on the back end. Of course, foundationally, you need to do what you need to do. Sure, there is a new technology today that which was not there before, but that space has changed. But that's not going to be where the adoption question is. Adoption is where I see is whether it is a set of analytic tools or whether it's a set of BI tools or whether it's a set of services. The question of adoption challenge won't even come if you're now filling a space, a white space that everybody is looking for, number one. Number two, we have to involve, I mean, I always believe that if people are part of the change, then change is everybody's. It's not change is being thrusted on them. I think it kind of goes back to a little bit of a change management as well, is that if the groups impacted, if I may use the word impacted, if they are part of actually selecting an implementation, I don't think there is a question of adoption here. There is only a question of how far are we generating value out of that. So it's not going to be an adoption question. It's a question of, okay, we all believe that this is the right thing. Are we gaining the right value, or how else can we use it, as opposed to I don't have adoption. So that's the approach that, yes, of course, I think over the years, we learned that. Of course, we all were excited about when cool tools like MicroStrategy or Tableau or something would come that everybody's excited, everybody want to introduce. But it's not about that. I think I would see that if there is a white space, if there is a need, it'll be part of that.
One challenge that we hear about all the time today is regarding staffing. And if you look at so many leaders' profiles in LinkedIn, they are frequently now putting a subheading that says we're seeking data engineers and data scientists, and I've seen that so much of late. I know from my own personal experience that it's extraordinarily difficult to find and staff organizations, and there's long lead times as well for people to learn the business, the company, sometimes the industry. So how challenging is it from your perspective to find those resources that you need? And what are some of the strategies that have been successful for you in both acquiring new resources and retooling resources that you have internally?
That's a great question, John. I'd say we don't have a silver bullet. No question on that. I think data for talent and leadership, right? Talented engineers or talented analysts and leadership is such a critical for success. It's not about how great a data strategy we have. It's about how great a technology we have. End of the day, it's people who make it happen. No question. But one thing is, Thrivent is offering a compelling opportunities to be part of a Fortune 500 company, which is transforming. I think that's the big difference. A lot of companies can say, oh, we are a Fortune 500 company, we are a Fortune 100 company. But what Thrivent can offer now is very different is we are transforming and we are committed to grow and serve more clients. That's one big thing that we have been positioning in the marketplace as we are doing it. And that's another one is we are making significant investment in our growth. That's why we are constantly hiring for a variety of positions and roles. Of course, we are always looking for passionate people that who can make a difference and who can help people achieve financial clarity. I think its skills are important. Yes, we have been employing multiple strategies, multiple markets. We are opening up and coming up with more creative ways of having the workforce engage with us, not necessarily everything physically. I think given the pandemic, I think that opened up a lot more doors in terms of reaching out in a non-traditional way to augment the talent. So we've been employing all of those things, but more importantly, we believe that where we are in transformation and growth, the opportunities and the compelling opportunities that Thrivent offers, and also we're absolutely looking for somebody who's passionate about helping us achieve financial clarity to all of our clients. That's the mission. Thrivent is a mission-driven company. It's not just in the business of making money or making profits, but really do so by delivering financial clarity.
Speaking of money, doing a lot of technology development does begin to have an impact on expenses, and it's frequently a lot of competition for new spending in that space. Do you have advice for CDOs who are seeking new funding for data and analytics projects within their enterprises?
John, I think that's been a classic challenge for data leaders for a long time, right? Data hasn't been something that you can easily touch and feel, at least until several years ago. So it's not a particularly, I would say, an advice, but I would say here is what worked for us. Here is what worked for me. Is aligning with the business area or set of outcomes which are top of the mind for the business leaders. I think that's the key. If you're trying to build, just say, okay, we need to do this one, I need an investment to do the technology, but no business leader would invest their dollars into however important that is. I think a couple of ideas I would say is digital transformation these days is thing that most people understand, because either companies are already in the digital channels, but they're trying to now expand and really engage and make them to be viable channels of distribution. That can be one set of initiatives that they can easily anchor, because digital cannot work without data. Very simple. I think that partnerships are going to be important. It's not about data office directly going and independently trying to go and make the pitch for the funding, but it's about combining that with marketing, combining that with distribution, combining that with areas which are making either significant investment or entering new markets. Because if you look at today's world in the last 10 years, fundamentally data-driven and monetizing using data, I'm not saying selling data, I'm talking about monetization and direct value derived by data, that understanding has increased. in business leaders, in CEOs, with CFOs, everybody. I think that's what I would see is to please anchor to that one, find an initiative like that. And if there is a transformation going on, wonderful. None of the transformations today can happen without data and digital. I think those are a couple of ways that I would look at. John, one thing to avoid, I think we have all done it before, is we spoke data thinking that that's not technology speak. Meaning, oh, that data management, this master data management, this data lake. I don't think that will really go anywhere other than what outcomes, what actionable insights can be provided. I think that's what I would say is anchoring to those and finding whatever that opportunities happen to be for the respective companies.
And I couldn't agree more. And particularly as you start thinking about how you add incremental resources that are very specifically allocated to data governance or metadata management, that it's really hard to get your business partners to be excited about doing those things, even though they're critical to delivering the value you described.
Right. John, on that end, I think most CDOs were really focused on data governance, data management, not necessarily in a direct consumption of the data or delivering the value out of the data. So I think, yes, if they had only that function, I understand it is really hard to do that. So yes, have the transparency about where the investment dollars will be going, but don't lead with metadata and don't lead with the data governance. I mean, this is sausage making. It's not that. It's about what are they going to be getting, end of the day, is what the primary focus should be. Not leading with saying that we will do the best data governance because we have the risk that we can reduce. I don't think I think companies have passed that time. In all fairness, though, I think there is a much deeper understanding. You'll be surprised. I mean, I'm sure you will see that is many business leaders they hear the word AI, they hear the word machine learning from consulting companies, from articles, from magazines, everywhere, and everybody asking, are we using AI? A financial service company, what AI would I be using? Not a really a self-driving car that we'll be manufacturing, but that's exactly where we can say is, yes, here is where we can employ this one, and here is what is needed to build that one. I think that's how I would look at it.
In developing and deploying new technology solutions, one of the largest challenges that I experienced was in establishing the right collaborative operating model between the business and IT and the supported constituencies throughout your company and IT as well. Do you have some ideas about how best to enable and to promote that kind of collaboration?
Sure, John. I think I would answer that in a couple of ways. One is the data office part of the business, or is the data office part of IT? So there are two angles to that. Mm-hmm. I started off with the data office part of the CIO organization. Sure, we're part of that one, and there is one of the functions related to application development, infrastructure, architecture, and data. Wonderful. I think that comes a little more naturally. That's good. So I'm now part of, over the last more than a year now, part of a business area, growth division, what we call it. Data is part of growth division. You can see the reason why company believes why data analytics is important is why the data analytics have been put in growth division is because growth cannot happen these days in the financial services without data powering analytics and actionable insights informing it. So I think one is that. So I think strong partnerships with technology, strong partnership with the areas that which publish the data. See, what we believe in is data need to be made available, freely need to move across the business areas. I think that's what should be the data office's goal. Yes, I think forging that partnership with the data providers, internal and external. Forging partnership with very importantly these days are marketing and distribution or sales. I think that's going to be critical. And of course, there are always in most companies, there is a business analytics groups that which have a significant influence with executives, They are part of significant part of the dialogue with the company's goal setting and the transformation partnerships with that. I've been fortunate to have all of those partnerships here at Thrivent, and that's I would say is please look for partnerships, and I think partnering is the best way to move forward. But as I mentioned, partnership need to be a win-win situation, not a zero-sum game for others.
So earlier we spoke about migration and adoption of technology solutions that really drive your business forward. But I'm also interested in your perspective on best practices in change management. So not just about the technology, but about the operations and the means in which things get done. But could you speak to how you approach the topic of change management and how best to deploy it within your organization?
Yeah, I think we are learning. We continue to learn and refine, John. I think that's an area that I don't think change management is a one size fits all. So you have to take the situation that you're in. I mean, again, as the pace of changes, pace of our transformation is changing, what we thought will be the best change management strategy is no longer relevant. We need to adjust, we need to refine. I think we continue to refine, but couple of ideas that I have is really understanding that dependencies, mapping them out. I think everybody understands it, not just for the project managers or the program management office to map out the dependencies for a project reason, but as leaders, we need to understand and really map out those dependencies. I think that's where, once we understand that a data publisher needs this time and the effort and understanding their challenges of providing the data or publishing the data over to, this is what we call it is, we act because data office, in my opinion, should act as an exchange for providing the data. It's not about ownership of the data. Ownership is really business areas. We are the exchange, we are the highway that are providing that one. And because of that one, I would see is, as long as we can see, okay, how do we get to the on-ramp and how do we understand how the off-ramp need to be prepared for, I think understanding these things will make end-to-end understanding of that one and mapping it out deliberately, I think, in my opinion, would be a strategy which would be successful. I'm not saying that is the best strategy will work. Time will tell. That's how we have been laying out. That's how we are moving forward. Of course, we run into, because there is not, if this is the only initiative, that will be easy. But when there are 100 initiatives happening in the company and 30 of them are massive, I think that's when the testing period will be for how change management as a function, as a capability, as the people that will be coming into this one. I think it's end of the day, having people aligned to this one, people understand the dependencies and the impact. I think that's a couple of areas that I would say we all need to continue to refine and understand.
When I first started doing data analytics work, we were all pretty well self-contained. We could operate pretty much in I used to call them shadow IT silos. Now, as enterprise assets with enterprise responsibilities and leadership functions, there's a whole lot more, or a lot larger requirement for collaboration and for leveraging a lot of other parts of the organization to ensure your success. What are some of the key areas of support within your organization that you depend on, and then thinking about other CDOs, the types of organizations internally that you need in order to be successful?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, John. In my opinion, the CDO role is a business leader role, just like the marketing office, just like the CXO, or just like a revenue officer. End of the day, I think these are the key partnerships, these are the key support functions that for CDO to be successful. Those partnerships, identifying the value that this can deliver is important. One last thought that I want to leave the audience here is data is no longer a byproduct of a business transaction or operations. I see that data is the key fuel which can help power customer interactions and improve overall experience, and in the process, generate revenue. I think that's the key. And I think any areas that which touch and help the business functions, that's what the support need to be with.
Thank you, Shravan, for joining me today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.